Most players, when they think about shoulder turn in the golf swing, just think about how far the shoulders turn, how much they turn. There's a bit more to it than that. And that other bit is the critical bit. Hi, I'm Peter Knight. I've been coaching now for over 40 years, from professionals right down to beginners, and get enjoyment out of teaching every level. And I'm hoping with these videos that I can help you to start playing the best golf you possibly can. If you enjoy the videos, remember to like them and even leave a comment at the end. But today we're going to talk about what the shoulders do during the golf swing, how they should move, and some of the errors that can creep in during the turn. When I set myself up, the first thing I want to do is think of my shoulders not as being individual so they can move independently. I want to think that they're just sitting on top of my upper body. So that when I set myself up, I'm making sure that my shoulders don't get rounded. So we've got to start with good posture and good setup. So looking from the side, I've got good posture right from the start, and I haven't got my shoulders shrugged or rounded as I set myself up. So that's critical. When I turn my shoulders back and through, if I think more of rotating my rib cage rather than just turning my shoulders, then it's much more likely that my shoulders will actually move as a unit. Of course they can move independently, but I want them to move as a unit. Now, a couple of things that we need to consider. One is that we need to build up torque through the middle of the body so that when I turn back, I want to rotate my upper body, even thinking of rotating my rib cage. So as I turn back to the top of the swing, I've turned my upper body more than I've turned my lower body to help develop that sense of torque through the middle of my body. Now, I also want to retain posture, and I need to consider how my shoulders turn in relation to my upper body. So if I hold this alignment right here against my shoulders, and then when I turn back and through, my upper body, or my shoulders, sorry, are at right angles to my upper body. Now, how much should my shoulders tilt or turn as I go back? One way of thinking about that is if I consider how tall I am. And what I'm going to do is put a ball on the ground around about the distance away from me that I am tall. And when I set myself up, this alignment rod, when I get to the top of the swing, if I've started in good posture and retained good posture, when I get to the end of my backswing, that alignment rod is going to be pointed to that ball there. When I turn the other way, the alignment rod on the other end is now going to be pointed to that ball on the ground there. So that gives me a very good idea of when I'm swinging back, I don't want my shoulders to turn too flat, nor do I want them to turn too steeply. Because if my shoulders are not turning back correctly, that can influence the path of the club. It can also influence my posture. So as I swing back, some of the things that I'll see a lot is players swinging back, shoulders turning too flat, the club swings too low, and they come out of their posture. Now, a lot of players, when they're swinging the club, do lose their posture. Their body straightens up. That affects the shoulders, and vice versa. So helping you to retain your posture can be as simple as getting the shoulder turn correct, so they're not too flat. If I turn my shoulders too steeply, which is something that I see far less often, but as the club goes back, then from front on, you can see how my upper body starts to lean toward the target a little bit. And from side on, you can see the path of the club is not correct either. It's way too steep. So when I'm turning back and through, I want to make sure that my shoulders are turning correctly. Now, if you practice letting the club move back and through with the shoulders, say, pointing to an object that's out in front of you, and practice making that movement, then that will also help. Now, a couple of pro tips. One, my hip turn is going to influence how my shoulders work. So looking from side on, you can see that my belt line is tilted forward. When I swing back, if my hips start to become too level, so now you can see my belt line is more horizontal, that'll change my upper body, that'll change my shoulder turn, and it'll affect the club. So if I'm looking to keep my shoulder turn correct, I also need to consider my hip turn. So as I'm going back, when I get to the end of the backswing, my belt line is on the same angle as from this view as what it was at address. So practicing getting your shoulders to move correctly is critical for body control as well as club control and arm control. So there's a lot of reasons to do this. If you've got any drills and things like that that maybe I haven't mentioned other ways, put them in the comments. I'd love to hear them. But if you practice getting that shoulder turn more correct, and it's something that is almost hidden from a lot of players, they don't do it correctly, then practice working your shoulders correctly and you'll find that that's going to make a dramatic difference to your strike and definitely control of the shot as well.